Hello and welcome to Chapter 1 in Crime Theory. I will give you an overview of Chapter 1, reference and show you where helpful materials are. I felt it was important to do this at least in this first chapter. I'm not sure that this is a practice that I will continue depending upon how students progress. But let's begin at the beginning, which is opening your Blackboard site. When you go to Blackboard, I believe this is what you are seeing. You may, when you open Blackboard, see this instead, if that's the case, and you do not see the left hand, what we call the course menu. Just click on the button and it will open up. So your full view looks like this. There were some things I asked you to do before getting to this point. Hopefully you have looked at the syllabus. Hopefully you've registered your textbook. Excuse me, you've created an account and registered your access code. That's going to be important to access anything that is tied to your textbook. Here in your Blackboard site, you will notice that after getting started, there's graded work in this course. There were videos that described that. Important information, essential resources. This is going to be a go-to place for some things that I'll talk about today, including the big picture of crime, theories overview outline, and the criminological theories outline and summary. So let's scroll to Chapter 1. Each chapter has its own learning module identified with the icon of a notebook with tabs. As you open it, you will see that you have two options for navigating. One is item by item, by title. The other is page by page. You need to determine what is most advantageous and effective for you. I've just moved the pages. You see that it aligns with, I could have gone through the left-hand menu here. The first thing I want you to do is to open the Crime and Criminology outline. That outline is what will be, the outline will tell you what I'm going to cover in this video. So whether you navigate using the page-by-page scroll or you select from the menu in this table of contents, when you click on Chapter 1, Crime and Criminology outline, what you will see is this. And this is what we're going to be covering right now. So the first thing I want to talk about is vocabulary. This course has a lot of new terms and terminology that will require you to use patience and diligence in making sure that you understand what those words are and what they mean. So, for example, in this very first chapter, we will look at things called crime control policies. We will look at the definition of what is a crime. We'll look at criminogenic conditions, delinquency, deviance, institutions of social control. Those are all among the things that we'll be discussing. The good news is there is a glossary for your use. Both inside the textbook there's a glossary, there's also a course glossary. And you can access that from the course menu on the far left-hand side. What you will see here is the course menu. So, for example, the course glossary. So, for example, let's look at crime control theories. It's alphabetical, and you can search by search term. So, crime control policies, that's something that's going to enter into our discussion here in Chapter 1, and it will continue in Chapters 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So a crime control policy is an action, or let me scroll up. A crime control policy is defined as actions, policies, procedures, or programs designed to prevent, reduce, or effectively respond to crime in society. So examples are the state legislature passes a new law criminalizing identity fraud. That's an example of a crime control policy. Perhaps there's a decision to make something a minimum mandatory prison sentence. Crime conviction of a certain crime requires serving a minimum amount of time in either jail or prison. Crime control policies can range from hiring more polices, changes in prosecutorial policies, either to have a zero tolerance or to take a more lenient perspective on the prosecution of certain crimes. Decisions about whether to build more prisons or invest more in communities. Those are all examples of crime control policies. I'm going to go back to chapter 1. So pay attention to the language. Make sure you use the glossary, and please do not use any glossary online or otherwise other than your textbook or the one that is posted here. All right, so you will have in chapter 1 a visual summary. I'm going to click on that right now. When you click on it, if you have not already registered your access code and also have a Cengage account, which is described in a posting at the opening of Blackboard. You will see getting started is the first block. There's step-by-step instructions on how to create an account and register. If you have not done that, you won't be able to access in each chapter both the visual summary and the textbook reading. Those are elements that are in every chapter. In this chapter, there are a few videos that you're required to review as reinforcement for the concepts in the reading. They don't replace the reading, they are to reinforce. Whether you look at the videos first and take good notes and then do the reading, or vice versa, do the reading and reinforce it by watching the videos is entirely up to you. Your choice, entirely up to you. Okay, next thing. Crime theory, criminological theories and definitions. Crime theories or criminological theories are really the study of the origin, or what we call the correlates, as opposed to the causes of crime. Declining temperatures cause water to freeze. When the temperature of the water reaches 32 degrees, it freezes. Crime causation doesn't work in the same way as freezing water does. Human beings are much more complex, and there are many multiple factors that we know might contribute to increasing the likelihood of a person either being an offender or a victim of crime. A second part of crime theory is understanding the nature of crime. What kind of crime? Is it violent crime? Is it property crime? Who's the offender? Is it older, younger, male, female? Is there a racial trend? Is there an age trend? Is there geographic trends? The extent of crime. How much crime is there of whatever type we're measuring? When, where? Place matters, geography. Each geographic region of the country has different crime rates, both property and violent crime rates. And seasons of the year matter, weather matters, time of day matters. The day of the week matters. Crime rates can vary somewhat significantly within a particular jurisdiction across all of those variables. Very important to our study of crime theory, we'll be trying to figure out what are those actions that we can take to prevent crime from happening in the first place, or controlling it after it happens, controlling it to the extent that we reduce either the extent of it, how much there is, or the nature of it, how serious it is. And then finally, if we can't prevent crime, we're looking at how do we effectively respond to it after it happens. What's the appropriate sanction for someone who's broken the law? Do we punish? Do we rehabilitate? Do we incapacitate? Lots of different options with important public policy implications. The next thing that you'll cover in Chapter 1 is understanding what criminologists do, or what is called the criminological enterprise, the work of criminology. There are a number of sub-areas, 6 to be specific. We are only going to deal with 4 of those areas in this class. The first is going to be how do we measure crime or crime statistics. That's Chapter 2. That'll talk about the nature and extent of crime, how much crime is there, where is it happening, when, who's committing it, who are the victims, information of that sort. The second criminological enterprise or sub-area within criminology or crime theory is victimology, which focuses on the nature and causes of crime victimization, theories of victimization risks, and resources and support for crime victims. The third sub-area, and one that we will spend much of our time in this class, involves crime theory and theory development, obviously. Of course, name is crime theory. It's focusing on the correlates of crime. That includes, for example, we need to know what is a theory before we can look at crime theories. We need to have an understanding of the difference between the cause of crime and correlation of crime. They are different, very critically important differences. We need to understand what the social scientific method is that is used to develop those theories. And those are so important in Chapter 1 as an introduction that there are lecture notes both on developing crime theory and using social science method, and later on crime control policies and the connection to crime lecture notes. So 2 sets of separate lecture notes that have provided that you are required to read, and those are those 2 sets of lecture notes can be found in the table of contents. It's capitalized letters, lecture notes. They can also be found, again, by navigating using the page number. So crime control policies and the connections to crime theory are lecture notes. Those are PowerPoints, Chapter 1, number 1, and the second one is developing crime theory using the social scientific method. Those are lecture notes number 2. Okay, so crime theory development will take us across chapters 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. You will see that we will take a deeper dive into 7 major categories of crime: rational choice, trait theories, social structure theories, social process theories, social conflict theories, and developmental and integrated theories. To get you oriented to crime theories, you are required to open and use the Big Picture Crime Theories Introduction Outline, which is in Blackboard. I'll go back and show it to you. In Chapter 1, you're just trying to get a sense of the different categories and the big ideas in those categories. We will spend much more time in digging deeper to get an up-close and personal, a much more rigid and structured understanding of crime theories in those chapters. You will be aided in that journey by the Criminological Theories Outline and Summary, which builds upon the big picture, builds it out, and provides a lot of detail to you to help you as you navigate this course.